Good evening and welcome to the John Gaunt podcast. Have we got two-tier security in this country? Jewish ambulances attacked last night by arsonists. Some people are saying maybe it was Iran. We shall see. But we do know the anti-terror police are investigating. But where's Khan, the mayor of London? Why hasn't he been to Golders Green to see the Jewish community? I think he would have done if it was the Muslim community, wouldn't he? And where's Starmer? Starmer's seen a couple of Jewish leaders in Downing Street, but he didn't get off his arse to actually go there, probably because he was worried of being called a winker again, like he was when he went up to Southport. But let's get straight into it tonight. This is going to be a big debate. Lots to talk about. All the things linked together. Jewish ambulances, as you know, have been targeted in an arson attack. Just let that sink in for a minute. Not graffiti, not abuse online, emergency vehicles, which predominantly serve the Jewish community, but are used to take other people to hospital as well. 4 of them set on fire. So I'm asking the question a lot of people are thinking, but are too afraid to say out loud. Do we now have two-tier security in Britain? Do you remember when the synagogue got attacked in Manchester? Within 2 days, I think it was, a mosque got attacked. Nobody got killed. Nobody got injured there. But then it was all about Islamophobia again. Because let me tell you about the two-tier security. If you look at the numbers, and this is a fact, they just don't add up. £40 million has been spent on Muslim community protection, but only 20 million on Jewish security in Britain. So you have to ask the question, why? What is the justification for 40 million quid on Muslims? How many attacks have there been on mosques? How many of them have been committed by Jewish people or the Jewish community? So who decides 20 million or 40 million? And don't tell me this isn't about priorities, because it obviously and absolutely is. Let's be brutally honest. If these had been Muslim ambulances, charity ambulances, do you think the response would look like this? Don't you think the Prime Minister would have cancelled everything and been at the scene with his cameramen and indeed all of the world's press? He didn't bother going at all. I know he's busy with Cobra meetings, although that's only just happening now. So my question is, why didn't he go and see the Jewish community? And as we go live tonight, it may have changed or it may change soon. Mayor Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, hasn't been to Golders Green either, nor's the Home Secretary. Now, I don't know about you, I can't help but spot the difference. So now other people are asking why. Let's go even further, because if there's even a question of hostile state actors like Iran, because don't forget the terrorism people are there, the police. They're not saying it's terrorism at the moment, but they're there. By the same token, if it was Iranian agents who have done this, and that's what they're linking, they're saying that at the moment, but that might be part of the usual thing about Welsh choir boys. I don't know. But if it was Iranians, what about the link to the threats on British streets? Why on earth hasn't the government still not proscribed the IRGC? What are they waiting for? They've stopped the big demos. Well, they haven't really. They've just made them static. So you can still stand there and scream death to Jews from the river to the sea and the rest of that nonsense, and you probably won't get arrested. But you can't march anymore. What is Starmer waiting for? How many more people need to die? It's The same hesitancy he's had with not backing Trump. And look where that's left us. Petrol through the roof, an emergency Cobra meeting today, and it's left Trump saying, well, you've got till tonight, otherwise I'm going to bomb the hell out of you. Although he's changed his position slightly, but now Iran's saying, oh, no, we didn't agree that, so it's all going to still be on, isn't it? But what is Starmer waiting for? Why is he such a ditherer? And while we're at it, those constant high-tension protests every weekend in London, they're still being allowed, but they can't walk, as I say. At what point does Keir Starmer put the decent, silent majority of this country first, rather than scumbag terrorists, and indeed their supporters? This does matter, because the big question out of all of this, when you look at the domestic and when you look at the foreign policy, is, has Starmer, with all the dithering, the hesitating, the sending of mixed signals at home and abroad, has it made Britain look weak? Because if we are looking as if we're weak, weakness has massive consequences. And tonight, one of these consequences is a community looking at burnt out ambulances, and they are burnt out if you've seen the TV pictures, and they're asking, are we being protected properly or not? So it's not about division, it's about something simpler, much simpler than that. No two-tier terrorism reaction. We want equal protection, equal urgency, and equal security. Are you with me? So I'll ask that question again, loud and clear, so no one can misunderstand where I'm coming from. Do we have two-tier security now from two-tier Keir in Britain? Your opinion counts. Please tell me what you think. Put your comments in the comment box, and I'll come to them very, very quickly tonight, because I think this is one where we're going to get a lot of audience participation. What do you think of Khan not going? I think it's bloody outrageous. I think it's absolutely outrageous. There can be no excuse. Terrorism. Sorry, I've had a terrorism attack in my city. I've got to cancel everything because I've got to go to Golders Green and speak to the Jewish community. Isn't that what you do? And Starmer, he never even got off his bony backside and went either. Now there's a Cobra meeting where they're discussing how we're going to survive with no petrol, no food in the shops. And he was still saying today, you know, we welcome the idea there might be a ceasefire because everything's got to be done diplomatically. And coming out with all this bullshit, all of which is an irrelevance to Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't even regard him. Donald Trump, just before he took the phone call from him last night, he played out on his Truth Social Saturday Night Live, where there was a Mickey take of Starmer and Lammy. Donald Trump has had it with Starmer. My worry is he might have had it with Britain as well. And I think when the missiles, as he calls them, start firing this way, I want Trump in my camp. What about you? And also, we're not being told the truth about the war. Diego Garcia was attacked 5 days ago. Starmer only told us about it yesterday. Why is he not telling the truth? Why is he not? Oh, and the good news is our ships, our boat, our one destroyer or whatever it is, has now got quite close to Cyprus. If we're lucky, it'll get there before the end of the world or the end of the war. Who knows? The whole handling of the situation has been pathetic, both at home and abroad. Nothing wrong with Muslims coming to live in our country. That's fine. Most of them behave themselves and act just like everybody else. But we can't have a situation where we've got an enemy within. And yes, here we go, the usual Gaunty rant. They still keep coming. They reckon there could be 400 or 500 arriving in dinghies as we speak, because the weather's nicer. What's he done about that? Jack all. That's what he's done. So today he's going to fret and he's going to give out some grants. They learn nothing, do they, from COVID? Don't get me wrong. If they want to give me some money, I'll take it. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to hand out money to people to survive. Wouldn't we have been better just to say, you want to use our air bases, President Trump? Of course you can. You're our biggest ally. On you go. Go and bomb the fuck out of them, but we're not going to join in. If you don't mind, we don't want to actually join in. He could have said that. But instead, he played to the student union crowd, right? Socialist worker. And basically said no. Well, he probably said 9 because he's so European. And we'd be speaking bloody German if it wasn't for Winston Churchill, who he's taking off our notes. It's pathetic what is going on. So he's giving a green light to every terrorist scumbag in the world. Come to Britain, hand out, Hotel Britannia, yeah? You can check in. You never have to leave. It's not like Hotel California. You can stay as long as you want, squeeze your soap and everything else, go into town, rape a few women if you fancy, especially white ones, whatever you want to do, on you go. And then when it comes to this protection of the Jewish, if I was Jewish, I'd be fuming. There is no protection for Jewish people, by the look of it. But there's plenty of protection for the Muslim community. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be protected. Of course they should. And anyone who attacks them should feel the full weight of the law. Of course. We all want to live together, don't we? But, and it's a big but, can you justify 40 million to 20 million? I'd like your views on that, because I can't. I can't see the justification. But then again, I can't understand why Starmer didn't want a rape gang inquiry. I don't understand that. Or maybe I do, and maybe I'm just not speaking it out loudly. Oh, and that's the final thing, just before we come over to your comments. Starmer this weekend, you know all the nonsense about Mandelson, and was he questioned for the job? Well, now the police and the inquiry want Mandelson's phone, and they also want the phone of, what's his name? Ronald McDonald or whatever his name is. Max Sweeney, who was the advisor to Starmer. But you never guess what happened. Children, are you sitting comfortably while Gaunty tells you a story? Morgan McSweeney, who was best mates with Peter Mandelson. In fact, Peter Mandelson was his mentor, got him into politics. Are you sitting comfortably, children? Don't fall asleep because I haven't finished the story yet. He had a phone, and he used to use that phone to text and WhatsApp Mr. Mandelson. But you never guess what? The big boys have come and stolen his phone. So he wants to show the police his phone and show them the messages because he's got nothing to hide. But the phone's gone missing. Isn't that a strange, strange story? I don't know about you. I'm fed up now of the corruption, the bullshit, the lies, the U-turns, everything. That this pathetic creature who's behind me on this screen, I've had enough of him. Have you? And I've just written behind me there, look, can you see it? Now do something. Now act. Well, what did I write? Yeah, now act, stupid. He's not a prime minister. And he's still trying to tell Trump what to do. When it comes to history, Trump will have thousands of books written about him. Keir Starmer won't even merit a semi-fucking colon. That's how insignificant this cretin is. But it's dangerous now. Those missiles, he didn't tell us that either. Oh, no, they're denying it. No, the missiles can't hit Birmingham or London. No. You watch if one comes down. Watch. And I don't know how that Steve, whatever his name is, who's basically Starmer's cabin boy. Oh, Keir Starmer's wonderful. He's always on the telly. Steve Reed. That's his name. He says, no, that's not the case. Their ballistic missiles won't harm us. We are being run by an absolute bunch of clowns. Right, that's enough of me. Over to you. What do you want to say tonight? Say anything you fancy. Try and keep it clean if you can. This is the John Gaunt Show, and I'm with you for about another 25, 30 minutes. What do you think about Starmer not going today? What about Mayor Khan? Are you disgusted by the pair of them? I am. I'd like your views on that. What do you think will come out of this Cobra meeting? I'll tell you what I think. Jack shit will come out of it, and we'll end up paying as per usual. And are you concerned now that the mad mullahs of Iran, because no one's in charge, it's like, oh, who's going to press the button today? It's just mayhem there, clearly. They're going to try and target us again. I think Trump shouldn't have cancelled the action tonight. He should have gone in there and bombed their power plants into the Stone Age. Well, that's the kind of culture they are. That's how they want to live. They want to live by all these barbaric savagery laws. That's how they want to live. Give it them. Not the people. It's not their fault. It's the regime, of course. Right. And still they come. So it's the John Gaunt Show. If you want to comment, please put a comment now on the screen. If you'd like to donate to keep these going, you just go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt or press the little $ next to the comment box on YouTube and donate what you fancy there. But mostly make sure you join jongauntTV on YouTube. Subscribe when it asks you. Do you want to subscribe? Say yes, because that means I can keep in contact with you. We've got nearly 7,500 subscribers, and I want to get to 10,000 by the end of next month. So come on, pull your finger out. Let's do it. Right, where should we start? Leanne Tail, 7251. Khan couldn't give a shit about them, about the Jewish people. Is that what you think? Khan and Starmer are dangerous, says Janet W8S on YouTube. Janet, I thought they were both jokers, cowards, but I'm beginning to now worry that they are dangerous. I agree with you. We're wide open for somebody to take over this country. And I think the missiles probably can hit us, which is why maybe he's been so reluctant to actually get a backbone and join in the fight. You've got to beat Iran. You can't have these people in control of that country. Well, they're not in control. As Trump says, he's killed most of them, but there's still a few running around with their fingers on the button. What about security for our women and children? There's been some zero of F all for that, says Annette Locke. Thank you, Annette. Alison Wilkes says, probably snuggled up together. What, Khan and Starmer? Now, that's a ridiculous suggestion, and it's almost turned my stomach. I've not had my tea yet, so leave it out with you, Alison. She goes on to say, Starmer the Hammer is married to a Jewish woman, John, but he recognised Palestine. I know they must have very interesting. Their conversations must be nearly as interesting as Ernie Wise and Eric Morecambe. Wasn't that weird in the 70s? They used to go to bed together every night, but no one ever wondered. No one raised an eyebrow, did they? No one cared. Much more innocent times, I guess. No show from Khan, says Terry Wheatley on Facebook, who daily destroys London. He's not even made a statement. Not fit for purpose, the mayor of London. Actually, Terry, to be fair to him, I think he's made a statement in the past couple of hours, and he said it's clearly anti-Semite and it clearly can't be tolerated. But he should have shown his support by going. That's my point. And he hasn't. But nor has Starmer. We are led by weaklings and cowards, and you wonder, well, what is their political agenda, don't you? Am I being paranoid? Am I becoming a conspiracy nut? What do you think? And what's the solution to all this? Annette Locke says he's in their pocket. That's why he bends over and kisses his own arse for whatever they want. Oh, you write your CV for him. Starmer hasn't expelled the Iranian ambassador or the diplomats. Correct. He also hasn't proscribed the terrorists of the Iranian Civil Guard or whatever they're called. Every other country in the world has, but not him. So they're still allowed in our country. And you're right. If the BBC put that that Iranian ambassador on again, I'm going to kick the telly in. And have you noticed how the BBC report this war? It's always from the viewpoint of Trump is wrong, Trump is losing. Despite the overwhelming evidence, he's destroyed their navy, destroyed their air force. They've hardly got any missiles left. It's clear Trump is winning, but not in the BBC worldview, because they're probably already beginning to worry about how they're going to report it if Trump wins, or when it's finally declared as one, like today. Trump said there's been a meeting with the Iranians. We're going to give them a week or 5 days to get this all sorted once and for all. Now, instead of people saying that's a masterstroke, that's diplomacy in action, they said he blinked first. Trump's giving in to them. What's he giving into? The first leader he killed on day one. They appointed his son. He killed him by blowing his leg off to start with, and now he's dead, right? All their generals are dead. Their head of PR, the one who said he was going to come for Starmer, dead. No Air Force left. Hardly any missiles left, but somehow Trump is blinking first. Maybe Trump's just said, well, okay, we'll do a deal. If there's a deal, now we'll do a deal. But you ain't having a nuclear weapon, and you're not having this, and you're not having that. What is it with the BBC and the uber liberals? It's almost like being surrounded by loads of limp-wristed Lord Whores. At least he went off and lived in Germany. Germany calling, Germany calling. The BBC, it's Moscow calling, Moscow calling. Pol Pot calling. It is. Kim Rongan, they should go and work for him. Cobra meeting, John. It's a snake in the grass meeting, more like. I like that, Dennis. Nice one, Dennis Spinks. Maverick, 25-ish. Why do the Jews have their own personal ambulances in the UK anyway? Well, why does the St. John's ambulance? Why does local scout groups? Because they're a community. Have you ever thought about it this way around, Maverick? They've been under attack for ages. And these ambulances, they're not just exclusively Jewish. They don't go, oh, let's just check if he's a Jew before they put you into the meat wagon. And what's wrong with that? If they've got ambulances and they're looking after their community, and that therefore means there's more ambulances for everybody else. Are you a Jew hater, Maverick? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Typical bloody Jews, only looking after themselves. Nonsense. You can't justify the bombing, which is what it was, of ambulances. Can you? What kind of weird man are you, Maverick? I think if you want the James O'Brien show, you need to put your hand on your very small knob, twiddle it, and retune. See you later. Let's move on. Strawberry Atheist 2114 on YouTube. Starmer is a barefaced liar. He lies all the time. He don't even hide it. Well, he can't hide it. He doesn't know when he is lying. He's Billy Bullshitter. He's finished. He isn't going to last much longer than May. I don't even think he'll get to May the way it's going. And then people are now trying to make out the BBC. Well, he's a great diplomat. He's handled the Iran situation brilliantly. He said no. He stood up to Trump and said no. Actually, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He whimpered in the corner like a little boy. Look at him there. He's almost crying in that picture. He's let down the leader of the free world. The Jews, the elderly, the farmers, the white working class, brackets, far-right thugs, people on the street. Just leave, Starmer, says K-Man40. I like your style. Thank you very much indeed. Smarmer promised to cut the asylum backlog. It doubled in a year. I know. The guy's useless. Absolutely useless. And it's only because everybody else in the Labour Party is more useless that he's clinging to power. I mean, today, if it wasn't for the fact that these hoodlums, these madmen, these Iranians, if they are Iranians, these people who don't like Jews, hadn't bombed those ambulances, and that's what it was, bombed, they put accelerant all over them and then blew them up effectively because they lit it and then the oxygen tanks went up. If that hadn't happened, today he was going to sack Wes Streeting and he was going to bring back, yes, wait for it, the ginger growler. Angela Rayner was going to be welcomed back in the cabinet. You could not make this up. But let me just tell you, in case you missed my show yesterday, it was either Sunday or Friday, I made the point. Do you know who the real Prime Minister is in Britain at the moment? It's the Jerry Dammers of politics. It's Zach Polanski. In fact, Jerry's teeth look better, and they were actually out, not just that gap-toothed twat. Polanski is pulling the strings because Polanski has somehow managed to persuade the great unwashed to vote for him. Students, layabouts, social workers, teachers. Oh, Zach is wonderful. His name's David, and he tells women he can make their breasts bigger just by looking at them. There's only one thing that's getting bigger when he's staring at your breasts, my darling, and it ain't your breasts. Let me tell you, it's almost perverted. Well, it is perverted, isn't it? I'm going to sell myself as somebody. It's the old way joke, isn't it? And he's getting away with it. But Starmer is petrified of him because he's taken away some of his voters. And still they come. Trouble is, the good Muslims will not stand up and condemn the bad ones. They hide in their communities. Annette, I have some sympathy with what you're saying, but look at your view from a different angle. If you're just a normal, ordinary Muslim, I don't know, maybe you drive a taxi, got a curry house, I don't know, whatever stereotype you want, and you got these madmen in your community who are better Muslims than you, or so they say, and they're willing to die for their cause, you would be a bit intimidated, I think, Annette. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying, think it through. If you lived in that community, it'd be terrifying. I mean, it was the same with the Catholic community and the Protestant community in Ireland. Although the difference was they didn't want to kill themselves at the same time. There was no Ali snack bar involved, was there? Huh? That's the difference with this lot. These Islamists, they don't care. In fact, if they die, they think that's better. Somebody said to me, when the Ayatollah over there got knocked off on day one, he'd have been delighted. He was straight up, 72 virgins. Thank you. And then his son, he must have been just as happy. Virgins are us, right? So they embrace jihad. They don't care if they die. So if you're in that community and you know there's something going on, I would encourage you, please tell the police. But they're probably scared stiff. Is that a fair reaction? You tell me if you think I'm going too liberal. I'd love some opinions on that. By the way, it's the John Gaunt Show. If you've never watched or listened before, I'm here every night at 6 o'clock for a good old rant, Monday to Thursday. Sunday afternoons, I always do a show, although I'm thinking of stopping doing it because people are getting a bit apathetic. I think I'm giving you too much. What else do I do? And then I do all my tweets and all my other bits and bobs. And if you want to help me, you can, because I'm financing this purely off my own back at the moment. So if you want to help, just donate a few quid. If you just press that little dollar sign, donate whatever you can afford, and it all goes to making these continue. Likewise, you could donate by going to www.buymeacoffee.com and buy me a coffee or a beer. It starts at £5. If you could do that, it would really help. But please tell all your mates. The more people you tell, and the more people you get to subscribe to jongauntTV on YouTube, the bigger the show will get. Got some exciting news coming up about the show, but can't tell you anything at the moment. But please, we're going to build it. And if we build it, they'll come. That's how it normally happens for me anyway. Right, if it was a mosque that was firebombed, 10 million would already be winging its way to the Muslim community. As for Khan, his silence speaks volumes. I take your view, Denise. And what's interesting about the bomb, you're right. When the synagogue got attacked and 2 people died, one of them killed by the security services, I know, but none of them would have died if that madman hadn't driven at the gates. Let's keep that in perspective. But I think it was Peacehaven, wasn't it? The mosque got attacked. Somebody set the doors on fire, I think. But I don't think there was great damage. Nobody died, that's for sure. But they got 10 million quid. Or the community did. And every time we talk about religious hate, I had this problem today with ChatGPT. You know, I get them to rewrite my little bit of bullshit to get you to watch. They wouldn't put the word Muslim in. this is what's happening with AI. AI, they're educated by the newspapers. Now, certain newspapers won't give them access to their archive. But, of course, The Guardian do because nobody buys it. So they've got to do something. And The Independent. So when they judge what you've written, it's through. I went mad at this computer today. It's not the first time it's happened. I gave them a thing saying, look, there's a disparity here. 40 million for Muslims, 20 million for Jews. That's wrong. You can't write things that you can't substantiate. Trying to tell me about journalism, this fucking computer. I said, no, it's a fact. Check it. In fact, I said, Google it, right? Or whatever. Came back and he said, yes, well, on the record, it is the case that this still wouldn't accept it. And I'm arguing with him as if he's a person. It's AI. And then the next thing was they didn't put the word Muslim in. They put the word Jewish in. And then they said, whereas other religions get treated differently. I said, it's fucking Muslims I'm talking about versus Jews. I'm not inciting race hatred. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm saying we've got to have this discussion. It's Islamists I'm against, but you're making out in your liberal way that all Muslims are Islamists, which they're not. I'm not doing that. You are. I'm arguing with this sodding computer. It's bonkers. So the woke brigade, the cultural Marxists that we keep talking about, who have taken over universities, taken over newspapers, certainly taken over the BBC, most of ITV, well, all of the mainstream media is controlled by these idiots. And they all sing from the same hymn sheet. Well, they wouldn't call it hymn sheet, would they? It'd be non-gender, sexual, persuasion specific, right? Don't dare call it a hymn. Well, yeah, but John, we're spelling H-Y-M-N. No! That's typical of the paternalistic society you're trying to support. You sexist, you racist, you Islamophobe. That's what it's like, though, isn't it? It's just bonkers. So I spent about an hour arguing. And in the end, they accepted everything I said. Because what I said was facts. What I need them to do, what they're very good with AI, chat GPT, whatever it's called, is making it tighter. And you need tight descriptions to try and doing some tight tweets to try and get a bigger audience. And I'm paying them for it. Then they start to give me a political lesson. I don't want it. So I suddenly feel like I'm an 8-year-old in class. Imagine this is your child at school. So your child at school says something which is undisputably a fact, something he's observed or she's observed. Teacher gets out a big red pen. Oh, sorry. Teachers, but you probably don't know this. Teachers don't use red pens anymore. It's too aggressive. They have to use a green pen. And they can't cross anything out and say that's fucking rubbish, right? They have to put a circle around it. And then they have to have a discussion about it. They probably have to all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, which we're almost at the stage of having to do about these Jewish people who are being attacked again. I want to look back in anger. I want to not sing Kumbaya. I don't want terrorists in our country making us all feel unsafe. I don't want to go to Birmingham and see big rocks in the precinct and in the streets. I don't want to go to a Christmas fair where you've got the police with machine guns. Call me old-fashioned. I just want to go out and get pissed up and enjoy myself. Sorry, I shouldn't have swore there. Do you agree with what I'm saying then? Well, if you do, how come you haven't donated? Thank you very much. Dennis Spinks. Why can't it be 30 million each, I wonder? Where's Labour's equality, John? I don't know. How do they come up with these figures, Dennis? But it's a fact. 40 million has been spent on Muslims. Maybe there's more Muslim hate. I don't know. I wonder why that would be. Because then I said to AI, I said, can you cite me any attacks by the Jewish community on the Muslim community? I knew the answer. I didn't need a fucking AI to tell me. There hasn't been any. The attacks are the other way around. In fact, there's been 20 attacks associated with Islamists. Islamists, right? But you're not allowed to even say, I mean, I won't be surprised if this one gets taken down. I did one the other day, and I've got AI also. They make the clips for me at the end of the show. Do you remember me telling you this? I did one about Tommy Robinson. he did an interview with Glenn Beck, the American shock jock. And all I said on air on one of these shows was, oh, you must listen to it. It's very, very interesting, some of the things he says, which is a statement of fact, or my opinion. I didn't say I support him on everything or anything, right? I got that taken down. Listen, they put it into a clip for me. I got it taken off. What's that thing all the kids are on? I'm on it now as well. TikTok. It got taken off there and it had to be adjudicated on. The same thing happened on YouTube as well. Because do you know what the word was that triggered them? Tommy Robinson. Now, I could understand if the word was that word that man shouted out with Tourette's, right? And that should be upheld and blah, blah, blah. But you can't even say Tommy Robinson. I mean, if you said Tommy Robinson interview with Rupert Lowe, you'd be crucified. It'd be the end of your career. And then, so it took 2 days because we use a system of automatic vetting and personal, this is their excuse. So when you object and say, no, I don't think that's right, all I've said is Tommy Robinson, right? They have to then get a human, and that takes 2 days. In which time, most of my shorts, the little videos that you can watch for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, I think the Tommy Robinson was only 31 seconds anyway. But all the others have got 2,000, 3,000 views. The Tommy Robinson clip, which they've banned, has got about 20 because they restrict it. This is what's happening in our country. This is how free speech is being controlled. And I don't know about you, it's wrong. It's totally wrong. Because all I said was, I've mentioned Tommy Robinson several times now. Probably the whole thing will be upheld now. Anyway, so they both checked it, both TikTok and this lot. And they came back and said, oh, your video is now perfectly available to all advertisers and all viewers. It's like, well, thank you so fucking much, right? 2 days loss of audience. This is what's happened. And what's happened is the cultural Marxists have taken over every aspect of our lives. And they're all controlling us. So it's not even this idiot, this cretin, Keir Starmer anymore. It's worse than that. It's worse than that. And then they suppress you. So the next time, I've just even in my head, I'm thinking, I shouldn't have mentioned Tommy so many times because they'll pull it off if I'm lucky. It's just mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. Scary shit. Annette Locke says, information on a phone can be retrieved with the phone or not. Nothing can be deleted for forever. She's talking about Roland McDonald's phone. His name. Yeah, you're right. And also, wouldn't it, whatever message you've sent, Mandelson will have it on his phone. I don't know about you. My phone's connected to my computer. So if I want to look at my messages, I can look at them either on the computer or on the phone. But, Annette, it's just bullshit, isn't it? They haven't lost the phone. That's like, where's your homework, John? Oh, no, I miss it. Brilliant. I wrote this brilliant essay about glacial plains and tarns and the Lake District. Oh, yeah, where is it? I left it out overnight. The dog ate the book. It is. It's the dog ate my homework excuse. But he'll probably get off with it. Starmer, look at you. Look in the mirror and say, am I a man? And I think you'd have to answer no. Ask Starmer's wife if he's a liar, says Hula Hoop. Careful, not too close, please. Let's move on. BS from Morgan McSweeney. His phone messages, his email, his WhatsApp will all be backed up in the cloud. Well, that's what I've just been saying. I agree with you. Of course it will be. Of course it will be. That's what happened. Rosie told me I lost a phone for about a day. And she said, oh, don't worry, all your messages. But I went on the computer, and she was right. They're all there. I tell you what. No, I won't say that. I've got something to tell you about something else I lost, but I can't do it today. No, it's not my virginity. K-Man says, new glasses suits you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, but these weren't bought by, what's his name? Lord Ali. These are £1.29. in Savers. I'm Savers' best customer. I'm the only customer who's not on a bloody mobility scooter. Have you been in Savers? It's a cracking shop. It's a cracking shop. Once you get past all the old ladies on their scooters, there's many bargains in there. Many. But why would you shop anywhere else? For any of your toiletries, so to speak. Your earbuds. My Auntie Rosemary will be spinning in her grave. She's the woman who looked after me and after I've been in care. She said you should never put anything in your ears, and you should certainly speak to Ben Manson. Never put anything in an ear, she used to say, and never try and dry up a cold with all those remedies that dry it up. Just let the snot flow. She's a matron. Ooh, matron. Let's move on then. You're getting talking now. This is what I like to see. But what do people think about what I said about how ChatGPT tried to censor what you said? And then when you say, you're censoring me, they go, we are not. We firmly believe in free speech, blah, 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 blah. But you can't say that Muslims have had 40 million and you've only had 20. Sorry, the Jews have only had 20. But it's a fact. Anyway, Paul Anthony, no one's donated. What have I done wrong tonight? Why aren't you donated? Starmer and Khan are just two men, and they both need removing by force. Well, I can't back that up because I can't back aggression, which is right, or violence. So be careful what you're saying, Paul. They need to be removed by democratic processes or total humiliation. I'm sure that's what you meant to say. The Spanish government have acted on the pricing of our oil and slashed the taxes the people are being charged at the forecourt. Zero chance of Starmer doing anything like that. He's quite happy to cash in. You're right. Martin Daubney on GB News, friend of mine, he's been saying this for weeks. The biggest percentage of what you pay on petrol and on the Alecki and the rest of it is the bit the government take. So Starmer could immediately just reduce that. He won't do it because it would set a precedent. But I don't know how I don't know what I mean, he looks constipated in that picture, doesn't he? Huh? Poor love. He does. I can almost begin to feel sorry. No. Sorry, I went too far there. But that's what they should do. You're right. I agree with you. Jackie Ward, if McSweeney's phone had been stolen, I'm pretty sure whoever nicked it would be selling the contents of the messages to the press. I'm pretty sure the press would love to see them. Correct. As this hasn't happened, I have trouble believing the phone was stolen. Oh, Jackie, you're such a cynic. You not telling me that Morgan McSweeney, Ronald McDonald, whatever his fucking name is, and Keir Starmer would lie? You're not saying our supreme leader is a liar, are you? Disgraceful. Starmer press every Friday evening between 6 and 8, says Paul Anthony. Both Starmer and Khan are Fabians. Yeah, well, it keeps coming back to the Fabian question. By the way, 21 likes, that's much better, but not one single donation. Is it when I'm too good that you just feel, well, you don't need the money? He'll be snapped up by TV next. It ain't going to happen, guys. It ain't going to happen. We're going to have to make it here. My grandson, what's that gone? My grandson has just told me that Starmer should be in the Horrible History kids book. That's brilliant, says Jimmy Abrahams. Thank you, Jimmy. Dennis Spink says Iran may temporarily stop eventually, but they'll just carry on the way they always have after a short time. Of course they will. Of course they will. That's why they've got to be destroyed. The regime. The people are beginning to come out now to support what the Americans have done. And I just don't understand why everyone paints Trump as if he's the villain. He's just the first American president with the balls to sort this out. And when you say to a liberal, well, okay, if he hadn't done it, would you think it'd be okay for Iran to keep the oil and keep oppressing their people? They don't have an answer for that. Palantir AI and Claude was used to detect, prioritize, and strike over 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours of operation against Iran. AI also feeds false info to weak leaders like the UK and leaked to the enemy. I'm not sure about that bit, Tony, but undoubtedly they're using AI, and that's a positive, to bomb the shit out of them. I agree with that. I think you're missing the point of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how there's this chilling effect of how they can stop free speech. Everyone thinks stopping free speech is stormtroopers knocking down the doors. It's happening in every part. So when a kid comes up, I got chucked out of English, right? English A-level, because I've subsequently laughed about this with my teacher. It was a different age. Do you know Jane Austen? I mean, not personally, but the writer. She wrote Emma, right? And in Emma, and I hated Jane Austen because it was all posh frocks and all that. And I was like a working class hero yob, in a sense. Bloody clever, but a bit of a yob. And so I hated it. Well, I think the other book we were doing was it Catcher in the Rye or something like that? I know, O-level, I love that book, To Kill a Mockingbird. You know, I got into those books, but I couldn't be doing with Jane Austen at that age. And Jane Austen has this friend called Harriet, not Jane Austen, sorry. What's her name? Emma. She has this friend called Harriet, and she's not nice to this friend. She basically wants to match her up with unsuitable fellas, and if she gets anywhere near a nice fella, she basically fucks it up for her. That's basically the plot, right? Subsequently, I've read it again, and I don't think anyone under the age of 18, especially boys, should read those books because they just don't get it. We don't get it. We get it later when we understand sarcasm and the comedy of manners and all the rest of it. Anyway, so, but my teacher, Mrs. Brooks, she was into amateur dramatics. She went up in my estimation because her son was in a fantastic band. I won't say who the band was, but a punk band, right? So she told us about it. She was almost ashamed of him. I said, "It's brilliant." Anyway, so she was telling us that Emma, some critics think it's largely autobiographical, right? So what does Johnny here say at the back of the class? "Oh, miss, you know, it's autobiography." Yeah? Well, I feel there's a lesbian undertow, and I could see the blood drain from her face. I said, you know, I was in the sixth form. It's about 10 of us there, 5, I don't know how many. And all the girls started to laugh. And I said, no, seriously. I think there's a lesbian undertow and maybe a subtext here between Harriet and Emma. And if that's the case, and she's now white, but she's gripping the table at the same time. And she said, "Yes, John. And what else do you think?" I said, "Well, you said it's kind of autobiographical. Does that mean that Jane Austen was a dyke?" And at that moment, my world ended effectively. I think she threw the book at me, right? Literally threw the Jane and said, "Get out, you filthy animal." I had to go see Mr. Grimes. He was the headmaster. I was in the sixth form and I'm sitting outside the headmaster's office with like 2 kids from the first year, whatever. I could have been their dad, right? And you have to wait. There were traffic. Did you have this at your school? There were traffic lights. So they used to go red, orange, green. Green means you could enter. And this bastard used to put you on orange or amber for ages. And you knew you were going to get the cane and you went in there. So it was like, oh, no. Anyway, yeah, I got the cane. I got the cane for calling Jane Austen a lesbian. I thought I was being I was being sarky, but I also thought I was being quite intellectual about it. Anyway, that was my life over. That was it. I still got a brilliant result, and she did congratulate me afterwards. She said, "Just think what you could have done if you weren't always causing trouble." Iran is doing what Hamas does, pretending to have peace talks to gain more time to regroup and get ready to start again. Probably to get false legs for all their leaders. I don't know. Shabana Mahmood will become the Prime Minister. Then the shit will really hit the fan. Well, because she's a Muslim? No, I think, why can't she do the job? I don't really understand that. 5-star Cuba, where Socialist MPs Jeremy Corbyn and Richard Bergen are staying in the only building in Havana with power on right now. The hypocrisy and self-serving virtue signalling from them two. Tony, you're doing it again. You're off agenda, but it's a good point you're making. Maverick asked a reasonable question. Does not mean he hates Jews. It wasn't reasonable. The implication was, why should Jews have their own ambulances? I just don't understand the question. So maybe it is me, Melina 1337. But I thought he was coming over as a Jew hater. And I'm not having that. If I'm wrong, he can come back on and tell me I'm wrong. I'll be interested. Hear his explanation. He can also tell me whether he thinks Jane Austen's a lesbian or not. If they come to my door, I'm going to open it and say, oh, dear Annette. She's talking about if the Green Party comes to her door. If they come to my door, canvassing, I guess, I'm going to open it and say, fuck off. My tits are big enough. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, thank you, Annette. Thank you. Starmer and Khan hate the UK with a passion. Get them out. Well, you know, Khan's been elected 3 times. Can't argue that, can you? Khan's quick enough to have more sneaky cameras installed to catch drivers in London if they do the slightest offence. Not sure if this is true, John. I've seen it in the Daily Mail. Yet he does bugger all when this happens. I don't know, mate. I don't know. He does love his cameras. He's got himself a big £100,000 armoured Range Rover, isn't he? But he wants the rest of us to get on the bus. Yeah, something like that. Hollow words from these 2 clowns. Put these in The Hague. They're absolutely anti-British, says Dave Wirral Cowboys. Thank you. Dennis Spinks says on Facebook, no matter what this definition of Islamophobia is, John, I think it will get ripped apart by the masses. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Do you know something? My mate died about a year ago. A guy called Nick, loveliest guy you could ever meet in your life. Really nice guy. And he died very young. I don't think he was even 60. But he was involved with Coventry Rugby Club and Coventry Football Club and, you know, young kids, put a lot of money into sport for young kids and give them an opportunity. And so they've decided to name the Coventry Rugby Ground after him. It was called the Butts Park Arena. So they've turned it into the Nick Newbold Arena or something. Great. So this weekend on Saturday, they had a do where they invited everybody who knew him and people he'd helped to go. So I went, had a marquee on one side of the pitch, and they had Coventry Rugby Club played at 3:00. And then before that, there was a free bar. A local businessman must have been a fortune. Very generous, gave everybody free drinks. It's the only time I've seen people in Coventry fighting to get the round in. You know, normally it's quite the opposite. But anyway, it was a nice afternoon. Then we went to watch the football on the telly. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you. Coventry won 3-0, and Coventry are now going to get promoted as champions, in my humble opinion. But the reason I bring this up was there are good people in this world. And Nick was a good person. You wouldn't have known a lot of the things he helped or the people he helped. He didn't want publicity. He was a quiet bloke. He'd have been mega embarrassed by the stadium being named after him. But sometimes you have to remind yourself, not everyone's a bastard. Most people are. And not everyone's chronic. My father-in-law, Mike, he passed away 5 years ago. He said, the only 2 things you've got to remember in life, John, what's that? Everyone's a bastard, and most of them are chronic. He loved the word chronic. And sometimes I raise my eyebrows, and I'll say this to Lisa, or I'll say it to Mikey, her brother, and we just have a giggle, because this man was very mild-mannered, a lovely chap, Mike, my father-in-law. But he's kind of right, isn't he? But also, there are some people who are really good people. And I was thinking about this about comic relief. How crap is that now? It's all these people, and they're clearly doing it because they think it's going to help their poxy careers. And they made less money this year than ever. Time to put it out to pasture, isn't it? Do something different. I don't know. But I think if you do something for charity, just do it. Your reward will come later in heaven, or maybe at Coventry Rugby Club when they rename it after you and everyone gets drunk on your tab. I don't know. All I know is this Nick guy was a lovely man. A lovely man. Right. David KT, I'm 64 this Thursday, John. I've done my bit for 14 years and I just don't care anymore. Nothing will ever change because nothing ever has. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the crap we are now. I think things are going to change. That's what I was going to tell you. So at this do, loads of people came up to me and said, oh, I love your show, John. Oh, you should never have got the sack from TalkSport. And I'm going, it is 15 or 10 years or however long it is. I said, do you listen now? Yeah. Have you donated? Silence, tumbleweed down the street. So come on, if you're one of those people who said I was wonderful on Saturday, now put some money in the hat. I'm not Islamophobia, but the fact is I don't trust any of them. I don't think you should think like that. I think that's a bit daft. Tony Foskett, sad man Khan. He was late to the party. Didn't show up in Golders Green today. Yeah, I made that point about half an hour ago. But if it was a Muslim community, he would have been there. Yeah, that's what I feel as well, Tony. Dennis Spinks, now you know why Starmer Khan never appear at a racist connected crime scene, John. London, May the 16th, John, Leon Teal. That's the Tommy Robinson demo, isn't it? I haven't publicised it, have I? That's not allowed. I'll be off TikTok. AI, if you're doing this later, don't put that bit in one of my shorts. Then somebody else said 16th of May, Central London. March will be massive. I always use savers, says Dennis Speak. That's safer. Let's talk about savers and getting cheap aftershave and glasses for £2. My glasses broke. You know, I was at Rosie's last week. I had 2 pairs of glasses break on Friday. So I was like blind. I thought, where am I going to get glasses from in a little village? So I asked in the co-op, no. I asked in the chemist, no. I said in the co-op, well, do you think anybody else will? No. And I thought, hardware shop. There's a little hardware shop, proper hardware shop. You know, where you can buy one screw. You don't have to buy a packet. And it doesn't smell of paraffin because they don't sell it anymore. But do you remember you used to be able to walk into, there's one opposite us called Boswell's, I think, in Bulwer Road, Heathcote Street. And if you blindfolded me and took me in there, I'll tell you, Bolton's it was called. We're in the hardware shop. You know, like Arkwright off Open All Hours. Anyway, there's one of them, and it's run by this woman, and she's a right good laugh, this woman. So I thought, I'll go in there. They've got everything. They've got everything, right? So I go in there, and she wasn't there. Just one of the old boys who works for her. I hadn't been a sexist before. I thought it was the old boys who ran it, and that was her. It's her shop. And so I said, do you sell glasses, guys? And he looks at me, he said, what do you mean glasses? Pint glasses, half pint glasses? It was a bit like Ronnie Barker. 4 forks? No. 4 candles? No. I just want some glasses. He said, what sort of glasses? I said, glasses for my face. He said, oh, that's why you're squinting. I said, yeah, broke them. I sat on them. Oh, they fell apart. He says, actually, I do think we've got 2 pairs or 3 pairs left. He said, they're not very good. They said, they're cheap. He said, what magnification do you need? I said, well, anything between 2.5 and 3. Depends if I'm talking to a woman's breasts. That's a joke back to Zach Polanski. So he says, yeah, come with me. So this shop, it's proper hardware shop. So there's little corridors everywhere, yeah? Nothing's it's not straight aisles like a supermarket, right? Full of idiots who don't know what they're selling. You know, when you go to B&Q and places like that, they haven't got a clue, have they? But this guy, he knew where these glasses were. So we went around this corner and there's another old guy there and he's cutting keys. You know, the old-fashioned way. Fantastic skill to have, that is. Anyway, so he's doing that, and he looks up. He says, all right. I says, yes, thank you. I said, I'm looking for glasses. He said, well, it'd be better if you had a pair. Anyway, his mate then said, here they are. And right in the corner, right, underneath this guy's little machine, lathe or whatever it's called, there were 3 pairs of glasses. I should have brought them upstairs. I've left them. I'll bring them up tomorrow. And the only pair that were the right almost the right magnification, were this metal pair. And I put them on, it was like this. That's what I look like, right? You know, like the kid at school who'd always have a bandage over it as well, and he'd give him a kicking. Oh, that was just me. Anyway, so I bought a pair, and I think they were £2.25. And then the guy stopped me, he grabbed me by the hand, he said, but we don't take cards for anything less than £5. I said, all right, mate. I've got some money in my pocket. I'll pay cash. So I paid cash and got them. And then I went and walked with the dog. And the dog was like embarrassed to be with me. You could tell. The dog was going, I'm not with him. He's not my owner. He's my dad's. He's my mum's dad. He was absolutely embarrassed because I had this pair of terrible glasses on. Then I got home. I said to Lisa, I broke my glasses. Shit. There's 3 pairs next to your chair. Because that was the thing I did. I started using these glasses. After I had my cataracts done, I didn't need glasses for distance. It's just for reading. So I've got glasses all over the house in various states of repair. And I should be sponsored by Savers. That's where I buy them all from. I go in now and said, I'll go in again next week. And I will. I'll go in and I'll buy 3 pairs. Although the compliments I'm getting for these, I might just stay with these. Craig Urquhart. I've got to stop in 59 minutes. Come on, somebody give me some money. I don't know what reports about the war are gospel, as they've been banned any on the ground reporting. So I'll go with your angle, John. Well, I think you're right there, Craig, to do that. John, a masked man, came into my place of work wearing a hoodie mask, the usual, treating the staff. After a while, I told him to leave. When I told him I'd smack him, I lost my job. I don't fully understand that, but thank you. 10 coffees in a couple of weeks. A record for me and Richard Pope. Thank you very much. I shall wait with bated breath. Muslims again, PM, says Ross Spencer. Hi, John. I bought you a coffee, but you can have a whiskey or brandy instead. I just put it all in the coffers to keep these going. But thank you, Terry. You're a good man. So he's done that on www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Oh, looky me. I caught you live while I'm teaching. This is my teacher. Whereabouts in America are you, Ammo? 3323. She loves my show. She loves my show. Dennis Spinks says, great show tonight, John. Yeah, I think it's been a pretty good show. I mean, you've got to have a laugh, haven't you? I mean, in between talking about the end of the world and terror on the streets, you've got to have a bit of a giggle, surely. Lisa Carvel, good Coventry girl. I don't believe Starmer has met the lady whose daughter was killed by a migrant with a screwdriver. No, she hasn't. You mean the lady in the Black Country, wasn't it, in Warsaw? Isabel. Is it Isabel White? Something like that. I do apologise if I got that name wrong. I do apologise. Right, I've got to now rush through these people. I don't understand, offence only. So Starmer wants them to kick your ass and then do something. Trump is right. Starmer is a loser and not the representative for my Braveheart cousins, says Ammo. This is my lady in the United States. Rule Britannia, I don't understand what that's about. Rule Britannia, reform equals uni Tory party 2. I'm sure it made sense to you, but I think you should ring matron and say you haven't been given your medication. Richard Pope said you look like Starmer from a certain angle, John. I nearly said what angle as well. You're going to be in big trouble in a minute. Correct, Richard Pope, says Spinks. You're in trouble, the pair of you. Kim Kraskniki says hello, hello. Richard Pope says, no, I didn't say that, Gaunty. I didn't. It's like kids at school, this is. Starman begins where the BBC left off, and Dennis Skinner, and Dennis Spinks even, says only joking. Right, I'm done. Thank you very much. It's a shame that you weren't... Oh, I did get a donation. Somebody on Coffee gave me a donation, so that's good of you. If you do want to donate some money to keep this nonsense going, please feel free. www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Anything from a $5 upwards. Want to give me something else? You can do it by clicking on the little $ next to the comments here on the YouTube video and donate whatever you fancy. Don't forget as well, all of these videos are in the archive. You can look at them whenever you want. And also we do them in a podcast version so you can watch and listen again if you take the dog out for a walk. That's it. No, let's finish with that one. Jackie Ward's just given me the 3 red hearts, which means I can stop in a minute. We've done 1 hour and 3 minutes. No script, no nothing, just me. Not even got an assistant to help me. Just me. Little old me. How the mighty have fallen. My dad was a para in Northern Ireland. He reckons England is going the same way. Eventually it'll be split in 2. The barbarians on one side of us and us on the other. And walls dividing us. The irony of Ireland, of course, is we sent the British Army in to protect the Catholics who were being dreadfully persecuted by the Proddies. And then it turned into the other way around. And it's a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. One day I'll do a programme about Ireland. I think I'll have some views that might surprise you, but it's not the time or place. But that's an interesting comment. I do think we will become very divided, especially if people start voting on ethnic or religious lines. That's got to be stamped out now. But that's the only way this idiot's ever going to get voted in. And this is why Zach Polanski, David, is such a danger. Now, here's Blandy. How much tax and payers' money is spent on this privatised ambulance service? None, I don't think. It was funded by the Jewish community. I'm not sure. I'll find out. Or you find out. Why don't you Google it? I don't know why that's bothering you. If they're taking all kinds of people in it, there's no problem, is there? Or do you just want to bash a Jew? Takes all sorts. I'm back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. I'm just in time for EastEnders. See you later. Bye.